Hi guys, and welcome to Classic TV Facts and Trivia. Today's video is on MASH and the 10 best recurring characters on the show in no certain order. Let's take a look. We're going to start with Private Igor Shinsky. Though he might not be the most striking or consistently funny recurring character, Igor was one of MASH's most frequently recurring. He tended to work in the mess tent as a cook's assistant, and given how often scenes would take place here throughout the show, he has plenty of background appearances from season 2 onward. As the show went along, he tended to get a few more lines and things to do, and struck around long enough to be in the finale. Lieutenant Ginger Bis. There are many aspects of MASH that still hold up well to this day, even though it's been off the air for 40 years. Started airing more than half a century ago, and that being said, one thing that might have seemed normal back in the 70s and 80s while sticking out today is the fact that most prominent characters of MASH are just about all white. When it comes to 11 characters who were featured in the main cast throughout, only one woman was Major Margaret Houlihan, played by Retta Swit. As such, one of the recurring nurse characters, Lieutenant Ginger Bis, played by Odessa Cleveland, stands out for being a recurring character that gave the show a little diversity between seasons 1 and 5. The PA announcer. PA announcer is constant presence in MASH and counts as one of the few minor characters to appear in both the 1970 Robert Altman film and the TV series. That is, so long as you count a disembodied voice as a character. Nurse Maggie Cutler. Though Nurse Maggie Cutler, played by Marcia Strassman, only appears in a handful of episodes situated entirely in the first season, she still makes an impact and shows up enough times within a short amount of time to be considered a recurring character. The previously mentioned head nurse Margaret Houlihan was characterized in earlier seasons as being something of an antagonistic for main characters like Hawkeye and Trapper, with Cutler therefore standing out in season 1 for largely being on their side. Sergeant Zelmo Zale. Sergeant Zelmo Zale had a steady number of appearances between season 2 and 8 of MASH, showing up for a total of 20 episodes. He's played by Johnny Hamer, and served as a supply sergeant and electrician for the 4077, also being memorable for the way he frequently clashed with Maxwell Q. Klinger, played by Jamie Farr, who was always trying to get Section 8 discharge. Lieutenant Kelly Yamato. Of all the recurring characters, Lieutenant Kelly Yamato, played by Kelly Nakahara, is the one who has the most on-screen appearances. She's in approximately 2/3 of the show's episodes, rising from being a background character in early seasons to generally getting a little more to do in later seasons, eventually becoming one of the show's most endearing characters. Sergeant Luther Rizzo. Rizzo, played by G.W. Bailey, was more or less the replacement for Sergeant Zelmo Zale, entering the show in its 8th season, several episodes after Zale's final appearance. He didn't have the exact same role within the 4077, as Rizzo was in charge of the motor pool, which is a fleet of motor vehicles available for use by certain personnel to military installation. He never seemed to do his job very well, but avoided getting discharged somehow. Rosie. Most of the time, characters who weren't staffed to 4077 or affiliated with the camp in some way would be one-off characters or guest stars, making Rosie stand out. She appeared sporadically throughout seasons 3 to 10, with a total of 10 episodes, but she ran an iconic location for the show, Rosie's Bar. And though she was played by 3 different actresses, Frances Fong, Shizuko Hoshi, and Eileen Saki, her appearances were always hard to miss, given her proximity to the establishment she ran. Major Sidney Freeman. Though his character didn't entirely lack a sense of humor, when Major Sidney Freeman showed up, it was often a sign that MASH was going to swing more toward drama than comedy. Played by Alan Arbus, across a dozen episodes between season 2 and 11, Freeman was a psychiatrist who visited the 4077 now and again, providing a more traditional outlet, besides jokes and pranks, for people to grapple with their emotional hardships of being involved in war. And Colonel Sam Flagg. Throughout Colonel Sam Flagg, Colonel Sam Flagg only appeared in 7 episodes across 6 seasons of MASH. He tended to steal the show in each and every one of them. It's pretty easy to label him the most iconic recurring character in the show, with Edward Winter's deadpan performance contrasting expertly with his character's wild and eccentric behavior. Flag was an unstoppable force of chaos and calamity, but in frequently funny way. And that's who I would give number one to if I was going to give number one to any of them, was Colonel Flag, because it's so funny, hilariously funny. And the way he bounced off Hawkeye, it was just, it wasn't pretty much anybody. I mean, even Frank Burns, Frank and Hot Lips, he bounced off them too, and it was just really good stuff. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, I love MASH. Please don't forget about classic rock and country music facts and trivia. It's on the king, rock and roll, Elvis Presley, and how a friend watched the blood drain from his face one day when he lost a $10 million deal. And I guess you can figure out why. I'm betting you can. Anyway, go over and check it out to make sure. That's all I have for you here. Please subscribe. Please like this video. Thank you very much. You guys have a great day. God bless. I'm praying for you.